Hello everybody and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Guapish Rule 34. As always, I'm your number one Jeff Keighley superfan, Tanner, and today I'm joined by the ultimate gamer, Nico.
Hey-o, look monkey go, here come banana slammer.
Shut the fuck up. Also joining us is the biggest Destiny fan in the world, Dylan.
Not true, but I do enjoy me some Destiny, so...
And, we loved seeing it at the Game Awards 2 nights ago, right?
I seriously doubt that by
Game
a lot
of the year,
things,
Dylan,
but...
it won Game of the Year!
That's right, Destiny 2 won Game of the Year in 2023. Anyways, and finally joining us is Hideo Kojima's apprentice, Jackson.
I love looking at all the deranged stuff he posts on Twitter. Most of it is, of course, coming from accounts that aren't actually his and they're parodying him. But I like to assume that it's all him posting that shit because it's funny.
That would be funny. Well, boys, it finally came and it finally went. The Game Awards 2023 happened and we need to talk about who won and who lost.
Let's go.
Our 2023 The Game Awards predictions.
Who lost is the most important part.
Who lost is the most important. But first off, I will go over who won. And that's right, this year setting a new Guapish Game Awards predictions record with 19 correct predictions.
Oh.
Nico!
Who would've
Yes,
guessed
sir,
it?
boys. Yes, sir. When are you all going to learn? I am the alpha and omega gamer, okay? Absolutely no one else's gamer knowledge and skills can ever contest with my own.
Let's see you do it again next year.
I'm not going to be able to do it, man. I'm going to choke.
That means our loser this year.
Oh, God.
Dead last place with only 7 correct predictions.
Oh, no.
Hunter!
Oh, let's go! It's not me, thank God.
Dylan, why were you so scared, man?
Because I feel like I don't know games that well.
Fun fact, Dylan, you, Jackson, and I all tied in second place at 13 points.
I feel like that happens a lot, where at least two of us tie for, like, second or third place or something stupid. Like,
Probably.
Every year.
I know one year Nico and I tied for first place.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
But yeah, so Hunter will be having to endure the punishment. Keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Oh, man.
I guess let's talk about the Game Awards. You guys check out the Game Awards or see any of the trailers or anything?
No.
Dude, I saw lots of wacky little images from the Game Awards. It was pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched like a little bit of it. I saw some people like commentating about the Game Awards and all the shit that was going on there as well. Apparently, fucking like... Jeff Keighley was just like chatting with Hideo Kojima for like minutes and minutes on end. It just wouldn't stop because they were just like they were trying to get to the bottom of like what Kojima's new game is all about. And basically, the entire takeaway from that long ass discussion was it's a horror game and it probably won't be coming out until like 2025. That's about all they deduced.
Jordan Peele is involved in it somehow.
He is. That was crazy. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. When he first appeared, I thought that he was fucking Kanye.
That's racist.
No.
Yeah. That sounds slightly racist, Nico.
How
it sounds
so?
It's a little... I don't know. I feel like you should be able to tell those two apart.
He was like, when he first got shown off, dude, he was like
but
way
Kanye
off.
is bald.
He was way off, and it was very easy to just kind of like, not be able to tell, dude.
Kanye doesn't wear glasses.
He wears like those shutter shades and shit.
Kanye still has black hair.
This guy looks nothing like Kanye West.
You have to like watch the actual thing, dude. And of course, because you already know now that it's not Kanye, you're gonna watch and be like, obviously it's not Kanye. But at the moment, I thought it was Kanye.
Why would it be Kanye though? That's a far more obvious
I thought
criticism.
That was gonna be fucking crazy. He's Kojima, man. Would you really put it past him?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. What I found weird was I'm like, I didn't realize Jordan Peele went entirely white-haired since the last time I saw him. I swear to God, when I last saw him doing like a director's interview for Nope, which was only like 2 years ago, he still had black hair. I don't know what happened.
Nope really got to him, man. It aged him.
That alien was real. He was actually shooting that shit.
Yeah, all the press and stuff from like you criticizing the movie, Tanner, endlessly. He just couldn't take it.
Right, yeah. Is that what I'm... Have I criticized Nope very much?
You've only had like one discussion about it, and the entire thing basically boiled down to, I just don't think that this movie was for me, Like, I just didn't get it.
I know what you're talking about, but you're putting words in my mouth.
I felt like this movie was just, like, not very good. I thought it was pretty shit, to be perfectly honest. Right. I feel as though, Peele is just, like, a total hack fraud. I feel like Key is a much better guy overall. He's much taller, much more handsome.
What was your favorite announcement from the Game Awards this year, Nico?
I really liked that they talked about, yeah, it's about it.
Nothing?
Yeah.
You said
really?
But my brain autocorrected to cum, so I was like, I like that they talked about cum. And
I really enjoyed that. Yeah, yeah, they finally announced white paint for Splatoon. It was pretty crazy.
Oh.
There literally wasn't a single thing you were interested in up there, Nico?
Not really. I didn't care all that much.
New Hideo Kojima game?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest here, okay? I really don't care about Kojima games that much.
Gotcha.
You don't like Stranding games?
Yeah, Strand-type games. What about the Blade reveal?
Oh, that seems pretty neat. I like Arcane stuff, except for Redfall. Which, that was another vampire game that they made recently. Do you feel like they just, sucked all of the talent away from Redfall and just threw it all into Blade?
Maybe, I don't know. Probably not.
I mean, I feel like Blade would be, the much bigger thing there that they would want to work on a lot more.
That would make sense. What about all of the Sega shit? Really? You don't have any affinity? You seem like a Jet Set Radio or a Crazy Taxi guy.
Dude, I think I've played Crazy Taxi maybe one time.
Gotcha.
Huh.
I like the Crazy Taxi map in Sonic Riders, though. That shit goes fucking hard.
Absolutely, dude. You're not excited that Skull and Bones finally has another release date?
Dude, that shit was crazy. I'm so excited for it to get delayed again.
What about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero?
No, I don't care about that at all. Tanner, I don't like 3D arena fighters. I think that they're the lowest form of fighting games, and quite honestly, I feel like anyone who works on them and even enjoys them should be deeply ashamed.
Gotcha. Okay, well.
You used to like Budokai. What happened?
I got older and my taste became refined.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I finally learned what it's like for Dragon Ball to have a good fighting game.
What about you, Tanner? Do you have a favorite from the Game Awards?
I guess maybe the new Monster Hunter game.
Oh yeah.
Black Myth Wukong looks pretty cool.
That game does look pretty neat. I already knew about that one though, so it wasn't super shocking seeing it there. I'm
scrolling through all the stuff here. Space Marine 2 looks like it will probably be cool.
Yeah, I mean, TBH, dude, I feel like those may be the weakest Game Awards in terms of announcements I've seen.
We say that every fucking year.
That's not true. There was that one year where they announced Joker, and that shit was fucking nuts, dude. I love Joker. He's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. I'm not really seeing anything else, but also I still have a while to scroll here. Some sort of StarCraft, Yeah, I'll go with Monster Hunter. I guess that was the coolest to me.
I have heard a lot of people talking about that. I think Monster Hunter is making a decent comeback at the moment. They've been pushing
making
out
a lot comeback.
What do you? Monster Hunter World that came out 2 years ago was the best-selling Capcom game in the company's entire history. So yeah,
it came out more than 2 years ago.
It was more than 2 years ago. That was 5 years ago or some shit.
I think Rise is what came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Because I think that's what's currently out, and I think they've released two different, I don't know if they are considered DLCs or what they're considered for the new Monster Hunter game, but I've looked into getting it a lot. I just haven't committed to getting into it.
People really love Monster Hunter. I think it's Capcom's most selling video game for quite a while here now, and I just don't really care about it all that much, to be perfectly honest, man. I just don't care. Monster Hunter is so much fucking grinding involved with it that I just could not be bothered to get into it.
I figured that's why you wouldn't like it. I mean, I played the hell out of Dauntless a lot, and that game's it's alright, but I was like, man, I should probably get into Monster Hunter because that seems like a much better version of that game, and it seems much more high quality. So
it is just better Dauntless.
I played the hell out of Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii, but the thing is, I played it a ton, but it was really I would fight the first handful of monsters, and then I'd start a new save over and just do it all over again. So I never really got all that deep into the game.
Why would you do that?
He was just a young boy, Dylan.
I was fucking 10 or something, so.
You the repetitiveness didn't, you didn't get irritated by that? You didn't have the
well, usually
I'd
start over and have a new weapon or something.
Oh.
I mean, look, dude, with like fucking Smash Bros. 64, we never unlocked Ness in that game, okay? We just never managed to get the guy. We had no idea how to unlock him. Our belief was that you had to fucking, like, you know, play through the classic mode, or, well, not classic mode, the normal fucking mode in it, with every single character. And once you did that, then you get to unlock him. That's not all how you do it. Turns out if we did that, we just would have wasted our time. But unfortunately, for some reason, the game just wouldn't ever save. So every time we booted up fucking Smash Bros. 64, we just had to go through and unlock all the characters again. Just like the moment we boot that bad boy up, go and unlock Luigi, you know, go do all the break the targets bullshit. And eventually, like, okay, this time we're getting Ness. And then hours would go by, playing through with all the characters, like, well, kind of want to play something else now. And then shut it off and do that again in a few days.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big issue there was not having the memory card that plugs into the controller would probably be the first issue. And then also, yeah, like, we just never finished a run. Like, we like, alternate off characters. We'd be like, oh, you're good with this character, you play him. You know, we'd switch off based on just that. But how did you unlock Ness, by the way?
You just have to beat the fucking normal-ass mode or whatever on normal mode with 3 lives.
Oh. I don't think as kids we were that good.
We always set it to very easy instead. So
that
we never
that
stood
was
a chance.
Dang.
Here's your problem.
Unfortunate. I bet we could just crush it if we went back and did it now.
Oh, 100%, dude.
Jackson, do you like video games?
That's a lie. You like Genshin Impact, you weeb.
What's that got to do with it? That's barely a video game. That's a fucking slot machine.
True.
It's an open world game where you play as characters, you get to beat up monsters. How
That's
is that
all
not a video
smoke
game?
and mirrors, Dylan. It's all just smoke and mirrors.
It's
Everyone
a facade
knows
to hide the gambling.
It's just a big old blanket over the gotcha it's hiding underneath.
Yeah, my shtick is that I have games that I like playing. There's games that I'm very consistent at playing, but I don't really look at gaming news at all or give a shit about like any new releases like 99% of the time.
Phasmophobia, CS:GO.
Phasmophobia sucks,
Company.
though. It's all about that fucking Lethal Company now, dude. That's where the real shit is. I really hope the Lethal Company, like, actually receives support, because a lot of times with these flavor of the month games, they burn real strong initially, and then they just never receive updates in a timely manner, and so they burn out super quickly, which sucks. And I enjoy Lethal Company a decent bit, so I hope that it actually gets more shit.
In like a decent case scenario, it might just turn into Phasmophobia, where it burns really bright and then dies off, but doesn't completely die off, because I think there's still a large portion of people that still play that game.
Yeah, Phasmophobia is still really fucking popular and also gets plenty of updates still. With Lethal Company, though, I think the thing that's going to separate that from a lot of other games is that people really like the base game of Lethal Company, and also it's really fucking moddable. Like, basically everybody already just, like, plays modded Lethal Company, and it's a pretty substantial improvement, and I think the modded support's going to keep the game running for a very long time, even if the developer stops. Which I don't think he's gonna, because he seems pretty invested in adding new shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like enough people are into this game that he's probably making enough. Does he even care that people are modding the hell out of his game?
No, he's totally fine with it. He literally, when he updated the version pretty recently, like yesterday, to version 45, he literally gave instructions on how to or downgrade the version of the game for mod compatibility. He was like, yeah, no, I'm going to have the old release of the game on Steam that you can access in case this new release breaks all the fucking mods. You guys can still play with them. He's totally chill with it, which is really cool.
Yeah, I hope, there's a lot of people that are saying, I hope he just takes in mind some of the mods, maybe like quality of life mods, like not having a walkie-talkie in your inventory, and then, amongst other things like a flashlight. Taking it to heart and actually implementing it into the game, especially with those types of games like Phasmophobia had to do eventually. But
yeah, speaking of these types of games, the one that's the most shocking is fucking Fall Guys. Like, that shit, that shit won the lottery twice, okay? Like, the first time it came out, it was doing gangbangers, okay? Everyone was getting into it. They were having so much fun streaming that bullshit. And then it died super quickly because it didn't add any new content. But then they released it for free, okay, guys? They released it for free, and then it went crazy again. People were getting way into it once more, and it was looking real bright for Fall Guys, and then they just didn't update it again. And it died a second death.
When they released it for free, isn't that when they released it to consoles? Is that how that timeline worked out?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah, I mean, I know that, well, and because when games go free, that's when they jack up the shop things, and they add hella cosmetics to get people to buy them. And then, if the game doesn't make any money, they're like, oh, well, I guess this is a lost cause, and then they stop paying attention to it, as is the life and death cycle of most video games.
Oh, well, say la vie, I suppose. When is Destiny gonna die, Dylan? When do you think
it's
that's gonna happen?
It's actually probably gonna happen very soon here. So some recent updates. The reason everybody got laid off is because Bungie wasn't meeting their revenue quota, so they were trying to lay off people so that they were not in the negative as much, and so Sony wouldn't perform a takeover. Unfortunately, the revenue is still down because everybody hates Bungie right now for not meeting their standards for a Destiny game. And so it's looking like here in the next couple of months, Sony may just acquire Bungie entirely, and Bungie will no longer be an independent studio. Which
didn't they already acquire them?
So Sony acquired Bungie, yes, but Sony left Bungie to be an independent developer. Like, Sony's like, we bought you, but you can do your own shit. We're not gonna mess with you. And then Bungie started doing bad, and Sony's like, hey, pick up the pace. And so Bungie's like, all right. But yeah, it's looking like if things don't get better at Bungie, Sony might just completely absorb Bungie entirely, and that could be either a good or a bad thing. It's kind of hard to tell, but
I feel like it'd probably be a good thing.
It might be a good thing. We're just, we're really there's a handful of people at this point that are like, all right, honestly, I just want the final DLC to come out. I just want to know how the story ends, and then once I know how the story ends, I could be done with this game. That's kind of a lot of people's mindset at this point. So it's unfortunate but true.
Do you think you'll actually be done with the game though? Because you've invested a colossal amount of time into this franchise throughout the years. Do you really think you actually could see yourself quitting playing the game once the story's done and all that shit?
To be honest, that's the only reason I still play the game is for the story. I'm not good at the competitive aspect of the game. There's high-end content for the game that I have groups that I do it with now. But then at that point, if they're not releasing any new content, there's no point to playing the game because I'm not all my characters are kind of where they need to be as it is. They're ready for the next big thing. So once there's nothing new to do, and it's just because that's how Destiny 1 ended. They finished making it sure, the game servers continued on, but they weren't doing anything else for the game. They're like, yeah, just play the game as is. Things will go on as normal. I feel like Destiny 2 will eventually come to that point, and at that point, then it's other games to play. So
what comes next after that, Dylan?
What's next after that? That's a great question.
What comes next for you, dude? What are you gonna do when that happens?
I'm sure I'll find something, man. I have plenty of games that I can designate my time to.
Do you feel like you're actually gonna start going through your whole catalog and stuff like that, or are you just gonna hop back onto some other live service game? Is it gonna be Monster Hunter World? Is that what we're gonna get way into next? Is it gonna be Warframe, dude?
I don't know. I have GTA 5 and all that stuff. Probably won't play those as much. Warframe is a little much when it comes to learning how to play that game. There's so much knowledge. I'm sure you remember Yuck.
Oh, I do.
I talk to him constantly, and I started learning how to play Warframe in depth from him, and just the intricacies and specifics on how the stuff works. And there's entire markets, kind of like how CS:GO works with mods and shit and frames. Warframe is insane. I'm sure I could probably learn eventually, but Warframe's another one of those games where if you're not there from the beginning of the game, it's so hard to get into it because there's so much. They've just been nonstop cranking out story, DLC, mods, everything for this game since it came out. So it's impossibly large.
Yeah, that's generally how those live service games work. If you try and get into them later on in their lifespan, you just immediately get bombarded by a shitload of stuff that just doesn't make any sense to you whatsoever. And, when they're all being rolled out, initially, it's totally fine. You can very easily get acquainted with these new mechanics and stuff like that as they're coming out. But if it's, fucking 10 years in this game's lifespan and you're just trying to get into it now, you're going to be having a total system shock at this point. You won't know what the fuck is happening.
I look at Warframe the same way I look at Roblox. It's this impossibly massive game with tons of people playing it that I know literally nothing about.
That's a valid observation.
There is apparently going to be that fucking Souls-like game by the Warframe developers that's currently in production, though, so that could be neat. Who knows?
I may have seen... Do you know what it's called?
I think it's called fucking Soulframe or some bullshit like that. It's super on the nose.
Oh, okay.
I hope it's not
It's not the game I saw the other day.
Soulframe isn't a terrible name in a vacuum, but speaking of games, let's talk about movies. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been 1 year since we first started doing Guapish at the movies, and to commemorate that, we are going to be doing some Guapish at the Movies awards.
Much
like much like the Emmys or whatever else there is for movies, where we have a list of, I believe, 10, maybe 11, I'm going to say 10 awards and nominees and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to read out the categories and the nominees, and we will announce the winners.
By the way, real quick here, filmmakers, much like those other awards, we will be taking bribes. If you want to grease our palms a little bit, that will go a long way.
True, yes. And we'll announce the winners next week.
Yes.
So here we go. Nico, do a little, Emmy anthem jingle.
God
damn it. Anyway, our first award is Most Forgettable, a film that we just frankly cannot even bother to remember we even watched. And the nominees are Take Me Home Tonight, Free Willy 2, Metropolis, and Skinamarink.
Yeah, so to be perfectly honest, I'm gonna pull back the veil a little bit here for you folks over in the audience. I was the one who nominated Free Willy 2, and my thinking behind this was that I was initially gonna pick the other Free Willy movie that we picked, the fucking Pirates Cove or whatever the fuck. And then I remembered that I don't think we actually watched Free Willy 2. I completely forgot that we'd even finally checked that one out. I remember there was a bunch of discourse about it, because Jackson and I, we watched the wrong Free Willy movie. Oops! But I didn't realize that we actually went back and watched it at a later point. So I felt like, by its very nature, that makes it the most forgettable for me.
Ironically. That's great.
That makes sense to me.
But now we're not just going to sit here and say what all we nominated, right?
We can have a little bit of discussion about these nominees here.
Cool.
Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care. The next category is Best Girl. Pretty self-explanatory category. Mm-hmm. In it, we have Hannah from Wolf Children, Victoria from Heathers, Kelly from We Bought a Zoo, and Sakura from I Wanna Eat Your Pancreas.
Now, I will say, you can check out all of these nominees over at guapish.com/awards. And there's a little bit of favoritism going on with this particular category if you check it out over there. Because if you gander at the pictures, there's very obviously one of them that's being shown in a much more favorable light than the other nominees here.
I mean,
I feel like two of them are being shown about as equally favorable as possible.
That's what I was about to say. I know the two that I think are more favored here.
Which one do you guys think are the favorable ones?
Hannah and Kelly.
I couldn't find a fucking bad frame of Scarlett Johansson.
You can't. It's impossible.
Her eyes are kind of squinty here.
Yeah, I was going to say her eyes are looking a little off.
I didn't look very hard, but
that's fine.
Anyway. Next category, Worst Mom. Also self-explanatory. We have Grace from The Others, Catherine from We Bought a Zoo, Amelia from The Babadook, and Hyoshvid from The Prince of Egypt.
I do want to preface here with this category. Whoever chose Catherine and Hyoshvid, you guys are dicks.
Why is that?
Why?
Because Catherine's literally dead, and Hyoshvid gave her son away so he could have a life.
She threw her son in a river. That's bad parenting.
It wasn't bad parenting back in those times, Tanner. She did what she could. She was about to die. Their city was being invaded. What was she gonna do?
Yeah, keep popping that copium, Dylan.
Whatever, man.
Next category, Best Talking Animal. And our nominees are the raptor from Jurassic Park 3, Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy, Chopper from One Piece, and Puss in Boots from Shrek 2.
Well, that's not what it says on the nominee page, but that's close enough.
I'm going to read it correctly. Next up, we have Most Likely to Ruin Your Family. This is a film that we most believe, if you watch it with your family, you're not going to be invited back home.
Yeah,
and our nominees are Terrifier, Cuties, Happiness, and Irreversible. Next up, we have Least Threatening Appearance, with our nominees Chicken Joe from Surf's Up, Blue from Rio 2, Jareth from The Labyrinth, and Michael from The Big Short.
You guys underestimate the power of the Goblin King. You will live to regret that decision one day.
Look at it!
When he steals your baby boy child.
Look at his fucking bulge, bro.
That bulge is very threatening.
Bro,
Finally, or not finally, but next we have I need to make my girlfriend love this film. Now, the intent of this category is that this is a film that you love that a woman wouldn't. 3 of you don't know what the fuck you're doing, though. So our nominees are Sophie's Choice, Wolf Children, The Prince of Egypt, and No Country for Old Men.
Now, I see what you're saying there, Tanner. However, I vehemently disagree. I feel as though Jackson and I both gave very concrete reasoning behind our choices, okay?
You made ad hoc reasoning, which made enough sense, I suppose, but, like, literally find me a woman a woman our age that is not gonna like The Prince of Egypt. Please, find them.
Maybe she's sacrilegious, Tanner, and maybe you find a woman who just doesn't like
literally.
Japanese people.
I defy you to find a woman that is so anti-religion that she isn't into that movie.
I'm sure you could find one in this day and age, Tanner. I'm sure it's not that hard.
I think you could find a shitload of them.
Yeah,
this is hard copium.
Tanner, have you seen the fucking people who are, like, just seething over on Twitter about just the very fact that Wendigoon is a Christian? Like, I'm sure a fair amount of them are women, so...
Yeah, I'm sure it's not hard, Tanner, and I'm sure that some women...
Yeah, but, like, The Prince of Egypt is one of the most, like, renowned films of all time.
I don't think that matters if you're sacrilegious.
You're not using that word correctly.
I know I'm not using it correctly. Anyway.
The next one
I believe Jackson himself was like, man, I really liked this movie until I felt like it was trying to convert me.
Convert you, it's all historical fact. It all really happened.
Yeah,
anyway.
Assuming you believe it.
It's all 100% historical. And next category, worst Nico ranking.
Truly our most controversial.
Used Cars at C rank, Surf's Up at C-, Fritz the Cat at C-, and Nacho Libre at C.
Now, quick question. Do you think it may have been more appropriate to not put the overall rank of the movie and maybe you just include Nico's rank of the movie?
We did include Nico's
rank. Is that what
rank.
it is? There's no way.
What do you mean there's no way? Are you fucking retarded?
I don't know. I don't remember what these movies are ranked. I just figured that was their overall ranking.
On the website, you can click on them.
Yeah.
Oh, does it actually pull up their card from the... Look at that. How convenient. Kudos to our
Shut the fuck up. I'm moving on. Smallest hand energy. This is a character, or characters apparently, that have the smallest hand energy. And we have got Ratso from Midnight Cowboy, Blue from Rio 2, Steph from The Goonies, and Alan/Terry from The Other Guys. And our final category is Biggest Shit Eater. Biggest Shit Eater. And our nominees are Richard from Who Killed Captain Alex, Phil from Groundhog Day, Chim Chim from Speed Racer, and Mr. Blonde from Reservoir Dogs.
Now, I'm going to guess by the fact that I think we all were on the same level when we were choosing our nominees. How did you guys, like, interpret this category?
The biggest shit eater.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Eats the most shit.
Okay, I figured that's what it meant. I just wasn't entirely sure. Again,
yeah, it's like the guy
down on his luck or whatever.
The most L's, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, is that? That's not really for me. A shit eater is like a really obnoxious, like narcissistic, like annoying kind of guy.
Yeah, it's also how I took it too.
Oh, yeah. See, this is why I want clarification because you can interpret it in like at least 2 ways.
I mean, I think all of them are pretty valid.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah. For example, you look at a guy like Brandon from our high school. Now that's a shit eater right there.
Name dropping.
You can't say his full name.
Do
you
that,
gotta,
man.
You gotta
Come
take
on.
out the last name at least.
He's the editor.
Christ.
Chill. He can cut it out.
Nico's been
you
so
guys have
good
dropped
about
so
that.
many names throughout these things. I'm
Dude,
usually the one who doesn't
names?
do it.
Have we dropped full
No,
names?
I've even gone over our old podcast. We've only dropped first names, and Nico was even hesitant to drop first names. He's like, guys, I really don't think we should be putting people's name on the podcast.
Yeah,
I think
of
we
course,
should use alter
I do
egos."
feel that way. However, fuck Brandon. He's a piece of shit. He's a shit eater.
I've also remembered that coming up in points, so I guess points to Nico on that one.
I don't give points to him, but anyway. Those are our nominees. Join us next week to find out who fucking won. Speaking of movies...
Whoa.
Is it time, guys? Is it time for Guapish at the movies?
I hope
Guapish
so.
at the movies! Da 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 da. Dun, dun. That's not the Superman theme. How's the Superman
I was just gonna do the Speed Racer theme, but okay.
Huh?
The Speed Racer theme. Clearly me, the person who was trying to do the Speed Racer theme.
Jackson, what did we watch this week?
Oh man, we watched quite the spread of movies this week, and we're going to start out with our Patreon pick, which is The Beast of Yucca Flats, which was requested by DreadPirate64, aka Lucas Ledette. Appreciate the ranking. Please stop! Stop! Anyways, I guess I can give a short synopsis on what this movie is about. A nuke lands in Yucca Flats, Nevada. And there's some scientist guy that gets caught in it, and he turns into the Beast of Yucca Flats, and he goes around strangling people and kidnapping them and taking them to their cave. Some cops fumble around trying to find him for a while. Eventually, they find him, and the movie ends. This movie fucking sucks. It's so bad. So boring.
It is very boring.
It's incredibly slow, and it's only like not even an hour, but it felt like so long.
Wasn't it just over an hour?
No, it wasn't even an hour.
It's like 54 minutes or something.
Oh, you know what? That actually sounds...
I think the only thing this movie has going for it is the first 3 seconds of the movie we're looking at some boobs. But other than that, it's pretty irredeemable.
Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
I'm giving this movie an F+ tier. How about you guys?
I'm giving it an F-. It's that fucking boring.
It is really rough. It's definitely an F tier for me. I don't know exactly where I'd put it. I don't think I'd put it an F- because it has like at least some things going for it in the sense like it's trying to do something, but it's just not working at all. I think I'd probably put it F. I think this is pretty similar to Who Killed Captain Alex for me, which is probably a fucking horrible thing to say in front of Tanner, but you know what? That's just who I am.
I just hard to like Who Killed Captain Alex is so much more entertaining than this, even if it is unintentional.
I agree. Who Killed Captain Alex also had heart in it, you know?
Well, thankfully we're doing a re-ranking, huh?
Yeah, true.
Holy cow. Dylan, where are you ranking this one?
You know what? You guys have convinced me. This movie was super boring, and I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give it an F.
Where are we going to put it before?
D-.
Oh.
I love how we really didn't have that many F-tier movies, and then like the last month, 2 months, we've gotten so fucking many. It's pretty incredible. I don't know if we're
finally finding the bad stuff.
I don't know if it's also maybe like we ripped off the Band-Aid and now we're more comfortable just like saying this movie fucking sucks, it's F-tier. And if we were like more like, oh, maybe we shouldn't say it's F-tier back in the day or something.
Oh no, I definitely think it's more so we're just picking even worse movies now.
I'd agree.
That might be it. Anyways, I guess let's move on. That was probably the shortest movie we're ever gonna fucking do on this channel.
There's nothing to say about it.
Yeah, there really isn't anything to say. I guess I'll say one thing about that movie is that the monster design is fucking horrible. It's just some dude with like some like weird scarring and he's just limping around. Yeah. So goofy. Yeah. How the fuck do the cops not get to his cave, but the fucker that has to walk with a cane can? Anyways, let's move on to a much better movie than Beast of Yucca Flats, which is Tanner's pick this week, Superman vs. the Elite.
Superman vs. the Elite is a film about Superman. He's being Superman, doing Superman things. And then at the same time, there's a civil war going on in some third world country. And then this new super team comes onto the scene called the Elite. They're like, hey, oi, Superman, I'm fucking British. And then they start killing villains and whatever because they're like, listen, the world fucking sucks, so let's kill the bad people. And Superman's all like, hey, man, that's not very heroic of you. And they're like, fuck you, Superman, but we kind of like you, you know? You're Superman. And then they fight, and Superman pretends to kill all of them. And then he proves his point that heroes shouldn't kill people. The end.
I will pose this question. What side of belief are you guys on? Do you think bad guys should just die, or do you think that, you know, you could slowly change the world?
I think it's a gray area.
Yeah.
I think in real life, killing bad people, you know, assuming they do a sufficient amount of bad, is not only rational, but the moral thing to do.
But Tanner, then you're no better than them.
We are better than them. In a fictional world where there are superheroes, I think it is probably most reasonable that we put as many ethical limits on their activity as possible.
But like in the case of Atomic Skull in this instance, where this guy could literally just point a laser beam at somebody and they age rapidly or some shit and turn into dust and die. And he does that on many occasions in this movie. What do you say to
Superman's
that?
just wrong. Superman is just blatantly wrong. There's no reason to let this guy not just beat him.
Well, I don't
when
think
this
he's
guy is known to just like break out of prison and immediately go on a massacre, okay?
Can I give
on
my answer?
multiple occasions, Tanner.
Can I give my answer that's
not
gonna
in the right
shut
here.
all of you up? We, the United States of America, should execute him.
Okay.
There is no reason this guy would not be given the death penalty.
True.
I don't think Superman should just be vigilante justice, fucking killing him. I think he should have, due process of law, and they go, okay, you've murdered dozens of people, yeah, we're gonna fucking execute you.
But their justification for keeping him alive was he was powering the city that he was being imprisoned in.
Yeah, that's a bad
something.
justification and very immoral.
I know. There was one quote in this movie I found very funny, but kind of true. It was something like when Superman was talking to Manchester Black, and he's like, "Oh, you can't kill a bunch of people and call yourself a hero." He's like, "Oh, that's funny because your American government does that all the time." And I was like, "Oh shit." Nobody else thought that was funny?
Yeah, that shit was cringy.
It was too real. It was too real. I didn't like it, okay? It hit too close to home.
What about America? America bad. America imperialism, huh? What about... Yeah, that shit was cringe, and it's not in the original comic for a reason.
I don't know. I also felt like this Superman was like the weaker of the Supermans that I've seen, because I know lots of people, constantly play with his like powers and like power levels and all that. I just felt like he was super, like, not Superman-y in this movie. I don't watch a lot of Superman movies,
I don't know what you mean by that. Like, he can be hurt. Sure.
I'll take it from you. I don't know much about the DC universe, so I'll take what you say at face value, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, this version of he's a bit weaker, and then, like, yeah, getting blasted by super, fucking atomic skull does actually hurt him. Like, yeah, he's a bit weaker in that way. But, like, at that ending fight scene, he was like moving so fast, he was like fucking, instant transmissioning around the place.
Oh no, yeah, I enjoyed the end where it was like he was actually doing Superman shit. I'm like, there he is, that's the guy I know. Now he's doing Superman stuff.
You mean the part where he very expressly wasn't doing Superman shit?
Yes, that's Dylan Superman.
No,
Okay.
Like when he was, actually beating the shit out of these four people that I,
Yeah, when he was pretending to act like them to prove them wrong because he didn't actually believe in doing things that way.
Yeah, well,
That's your Superman? You missed the entire fucking point of that whole scene?
No, I got it.
The whole point of the movie flew over your fucking head?
No, it didn't. Never mind. I forget I said anything about it. Anyway, I did really enjoy this movie. The only, minor gripe I have with this movie is I'm not a huge fan of the animation style. It's not great, in my opinion. It's okay. It's serviceable for a movie. I liken it to maybe a show you watch on TV, not so much a movie.
Okay.
But I did think it was paced fairly well. It moved along quite quickly. And I mean, it was only like an hour, 15 minutes anyway, so they kind of had to pack a lot into this movie as is. But yeah, I just thought that there was a lot of death in this movie. And I'm sure, I was thinking of like the Marvel movies in parallel to this. I'm sure an equal, if not greater amount of people die in the Marvel movies than in the DC movies. I just didn't think they'd show it so explicitly with people turning to ash and all that shit.
It stands out a lot more in DC movies because, like, Marvel, we're used to them killing people. Like, I think Spider-Man is the only character who really is like, yeah, I don't kill people in Marvel. All the other Marvel heroes are like, yeah, fucking whatever, I don't care.
They're just collateral.
DC,
in fact, I hope that I kill more people.
Yeah, yeah. Most DC heroes are like, yeah, I don't kill.
Yeah, I get that. And there was that, it was the part where Superman flew into that one country, like, under the...
Bialia?
Yeah, Bialia, and, like, the soldiers were about to blast him, and then that one soldier's limb just got twisted like fucking pretzels, and, it's nasty.
Just like that scene from Old by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, just like
I haven't seen that movie, so...
No, that's an Elfin Lead reference.
I have a big rant to go on for this movie, so Nico Jackson, I'd like to hear your thoughts first.
Oh, my thoughts will immediately make you go on a big rant, so, Jackson, you want to get yours out of the way first?
Yeah, this movie has... I think the idea behind this movie is cool. I like the idea that they really go out of their way to explore a lot of the themes based around superheroes. They tackle a lot of the big ones, that the morality of killing people, with the, the kind of anti-hero kind of thing. They also talk about, like destruction of property and how things like that should be handled. I like the idea that they're taking like a pretty mature approach to that, which is cool. And honestly, the movie kind of left me, or not left me, but like it constantly like proved me wrong. Like when I was watching it, I'd say something like, "This is fucking stupid," and then the movie would like prove me wrong after by explaining what it was doing. And it did that quite a few times, which I can appreciate. But there's definitely some pretty big flaws with it. Mostly with Dylan. Like the pacing of the movie. I did not like the pacing of the movie. I thought it was way too quick.
It was way too fast.
Honestly, I think the biggest flaw with this movie is just the fact that they bring up all these cool themes, but they don't really expand on them, and they go way too quickly, so you don't have a lot of time to latch onto it. Like
these are incredibly complex and nuanced issues that they just don't explore whatsoever. They just kind of present there like, well, these are a couple different sides of it. That's about it. You figure it out.
Yeah, also, of course, Superman is, like, very inconsistent with his powers and stuff. Like, we obviously, at the end scene, he's trying to, like, be, like, the super domineering figure, and he is. Why the fuck wasn't he doing that with, like, the other villains that were literally killing random civilians in the streets at the beginning? Who knows? Doesn't matter. It's all for fucking plot convenience. And I wasn't a huge fan of, like, the art style and animation. That was kind of shitty.
Yeah, I'm right there with you and Dylan. The art style for this I wasn't really a big fan of. Like Dylan said, it really does just kind of look like a TV show, which I expect a little bit more from films,
Yeah. It didn't use as much CG as I expected. Like when they're doing like the fucking plane scene, they had the planes in CG, and then like it cut to like the actual cockpit and stuff, and it was like actual 2D animation. I respect that. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty lukewarm on this film. I like the idea that it's presenting all these scenes. I just don't think it fleshes them out enough, and I think it's a pretty all-right film overall for me.
Yeah, I feel like this movie is just kind of fine. Jackson went over a lot of my talking points there. I feel like the only real big negative, I'd say, that hasn't really been hinted on here quite yet is the voice acting. I thought it was pretty bad in this movie generally.
Okay, I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, the voice acting was really cringy.
Like, especially Superman is really rough. Like, he just does not emote ever in this movie. It's just the same tone at all times in any situation.
Anyways, Tanner, rant time. Prove us wrong.
Let's go.
Now, I didn't really have an issue with the art style. Personal taste, notwithstanding or whatever. I think, like, I don't know. Did you guys think Atomic Skull's design was cool at least?
Yeah, I think it was all right.
Nothing.
I've seen cooler.
I didn't have a problem with the art style, and I will say, voice acting is one thing I'm calling it out for. Voice acting was really rough.
Okay.
And the bummer is, it's Superman whose line delivery is the worst. I think this movie is written well, but a lot of the line delivery is like kind of whack, especially with Superman, which is a major bummer. And I don't think it's the voice actor's fault. It feels like he just got directed weirdly.
Yeah, it's probably
terms
just
of
like bad direction, I'd assume.
Yeah, I think because like it's just like the tempo of some of his sentences were just fucking weird. I thought Manchester Black was pretty good for voice acting.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I thought he was much better than any of the other characters. Lois was fine. The two lines we got from J.K. Simmons as Perry White was really good, but whatever the fuck. I admit I'm a big Superman fan. I have a massive Superman bias, and for that reason, I really liked this film because I think it perfectly captures the essence of Superman in a way that most recent Superman movies just don't. A lot of people don't really understand Superman and the point of him and like literally what he even is.
Yeah, they just make him God. Superman is
they
God.
Just make
He's
him
an
a god.
Uncaring, emotionless being who just prays over us and does his own bidding.
Exactly, yeah. But this movie actually understands Superman's character and portrays that. A big part of that is I really like Superman and Lois's relationship with this. Not because... And it's not in like, oh, they're just like lovey-dovey and they never conflict at all. Like, we actually see shit like when Lois Lane is like, I don't know, maybe I do think the bad people should just be killed. And that's like a serious point of conflict between the two of them. I like that shit. I liked the action scenes, I thought they were pretty solid, and I thought there was a good number of them. We have the couple of Bialia scenes, the couple of Atomic Skull fights. I liked the one time that Superman and the Elite team up to save those people trapped in the train. I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't know, for me the action wasn't super standout. It was fine, but I don't think it was like anything really amazing.
I thought it was fine.
That's what I said.
I thought it was good.
There we go.
I wish there was a more gradual shift for the Elite from when they like admired Superman to when they were like, oh, he's old fashioned. We need to, like, it's our turn to take things over. They did that too abruptly, which I suppose would be me agreeing with your guys' issue with it being paced too quickly. And then my last, this is a nitpick, this is stupid, and I wanted to go read the comic to see if this is the case in there. I didn't get around to it, but maybe I will this week.
Superman's boots were the wrong color. What were they thinking?
No, at the very end confrontation, which I think is cool. I think the delivery is much better in the end confrontation, and I love the really badass lines from Superman throughout. When he does the big reveal of how he pulled off faking, killing the entire Elite team and whatever, and it's his little robot guys that, like, grab him and run away, I was like, that seems stupid, because he also revealed that he convinced the worm thing that can teleport people to join him. And I'm like, wouldn't it be a better reveal and make more sense if he just had the worm teleporting them away at the last second instead of his robots coming in?
Yeah, that 100% would have been better.
That actually does remind me of another criticism of the movie, that being that the ending really just comes out of fucking nowhere. Like, they don't really give you a whole lot to latch on to. Basically, all you get is, like, a hint that this is what's going on is, it's Superman, I guess, is one thing you could look at it. But B is that they also show, like, the one scene of Lois talking to Manchester Black's sister in the alleyway, and that's, like, all you get. They don't really explain anything else about what's going on behind the scenes. It's all this, we have all this shit that's happening, all these plans and stuff, but the audience sees none of it. So it's, like, really just, like, some crazy, like, twist reveal, basically, at the end, and I don't really think it worked that well, mostly just because of all the other compounding pacing issues. This one really just seemed like a really big, blatant thing. Like this, like, I think it was cool, when Superman was doing, like, the action scene, I liked the reveal, but it was also just kind of fucking stupid to me.
I disagree. I think the end confrontation was really cool. Other than that robot thing, I thought that's kind of silly, and I really feel like if I go and read the comic, this is based on that it will be that the worm was just teleporting them all away.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would they change that? What would be the purpose behind that?
I don't know.
I don't want Superman's robots to be more involved. I think they're cool.
Easier to explain. Kids like robots.
That whole deal didn't make too much of a difference. All I do know is that the end, like, had a quote. I don't know why I randomly remember this, but the end had a quote. I was watching, like, a Screw Attack death battle between Goku and Superman, and there was a quote that he said in this movie that he said in there, and for some reason I always think of that quote. So just a random fun fact for you boys.
What quote was it?
What's the quote?
When he was talking to Manchester Black, and he's, like, talking about, like, oh, I found the thing in your brain that does the thing, and performed instant lobotomy, or however I don't remember verbatim what he said, but it was that part.
The famous Superman quote, I performed an instant lobotomy.
I'm only referencing that because in the second Goku vs. Superman, that's how he killed Goku. Anyway, moving on.
I think Superman should lobotomize more people.
That's,
I agree.
Okay.
I feel like that would solve all of his problems a lot faster.
Clearly.
I like the part where Manchester Black is, where'd such and such guy go, and Superman's like, orbit. That was cool.
That was pretty good.
That was the other thing. Did what was that guy's name? Cold Snap or whatever? The big guy?
I think it was something like that.
Which
Cold
he
Flash,
didn't even
Cold Snap.
Yeah, he didn't even have ice powers. Did he remind you of Static Shock, or was that just me?
You're being racist.
I'm not being racist. He had the dreads and the face structure and everything, dude.
He was black and he had lightning powers. This is what I'm saying, dude, okay? Just because you think that two people look alike and they're the same race doesn't make you racist, okay? Come on.
I gave reasons to why I thought
you guys get your ranks out of the way. Let's start on a downer and on an upper.
C+.
I also gave it a C+.
Jesus. Is that me next?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read my rank before I assume. I gave it an A.
Okay. And I finally realized what S tier means to me. And S tier for me means special.
Superman.
A movie needs to not only be good, but do something special. And for me, this movie does something special. So I'm giving it an S-.
For Superman minus.
Yep. Superman -0.
Superman minus.
Coming next fall.
That would be a crazy movie.
And that puts it at a solid B+ overall.
Wow.
Okay.
Also, I guess we didn't say the actual overall rank of the Beast of Yucca Flats. That landed at an F. Boo! Anyways.
Unsurprisingly.
Yeah, I know, this is shocking information to everybody. Anyways, let's talk about the most controversial movie this week, potentially. That being 2008's live-action Speed Racer, which was Nico's pick.
Ooh. Speed Racer, guys. Fucking Speed Racer. Did you guys like Chim Chim in this movie? Was he pretty fun?
No.
Yeah, it was cool.
Dylan, he's a monkey.
Okay.
How could you not like the guy? So, Speed Racer, guys. Speed Racer is all about speed, okay? His name is literally just Speed Racer, alright? Him and the rest of the Racer family are some small-time racers, alright? His brother was once a racer, but then he died in a horrible accident, okay? And it has haunted his entire family for generations at this point. But at some point, Speed gets an opportunity of a lifetime. He can go and partner up with a big bad company so that he can finally make it in the big leagues, boys. But as it turns out, that big company's evil, and Speed says, no, I don't want to work with you guys. And as a result, they're like, fuck you, Speed, we're gonna destroy you and your entire family's livelihood. And they attempt to do that. But Speed, with the help of the fucking ISS or some big racing league officiates,
The ISS.
The CIB.
some people, he partners up with Racer X and these dudes to go and win a ticket for the Grand Prix, the big racing Grand Prix, and hijinks ensue from there. It's fucking nuts. We have some crazy wacky racist bullshit going on. They partner up with this Asian guy who ends up betraying them, but then his sister is like, hey, Speed, I'm gonna give you this ticket for helping out our family. You can enter the big Grand Prix now. And Speed's like, wow, that's crazy! And so he joins up in the Grand Prix, and things are going nuts, okay? He's blowing up all these other racers. He's just manhandling all of them. He's tearing them all apart. But then, one of the big racers, they cheat, okay? They cheat, and so Speed, his car crashes. It's not able to operate anymore. Well, what's he gonna do? But then he believes in the heart of his car, and he's able to fucking destroy all these other people and win the big race and kiss his gal on the lips.
Why did you say that ending part so weird? Yowl on the lips.
Yowl on the lips.
Nico would be a fantastic voice actor in Superman versus the Elite.
Oh, 100%, man. I want to get this out of the way right now about Speed Racer, guys, okay? This movie does not give a goddamn about physics, epilepsy, comprehensive editing. It just wants to be fucking awesome, okay? And that's exactly what this movie does. That's its one goal, and it succeeds masterfully.
Quick question, Nico. Just because I think I'm remembering this story, didn't you say you had a friend who had a Speed Racer party or something, and his girlfriend broke up with him or whatever? I remember you telling a story something along those lines.
It was a Power Rangers party.
Oh, okay, never mind then. Forget what I said.
Go back in time and bring up that anecdote in the Power Rangers episode.
Oh no.
We'll re-edit the episode and upload it again.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I definitely... This movie was a little weird. I definitely feel like...
That's a statement right there.
This movie would have benefited greatly from being 100% animated. I think
I disagree.
You don't
the
think...
fact that this movie was not animated, well,
Dude,
really made it gave it a style in and of itself, okay?
Dude, the beginning of this movie was so scuffed. I did not like it. It looked so bad. It was terrible. I hated the beginning.
I will say that this movie will look pretty ugly when you start watching it. However, it did grow on me as the film went on.
That's what I was gonna say, is as the movie went on, the style grew on me. I started getting a little more of that Speed Racer vibe from the movie. And, the flashing lights and the colors and all the, once they got into the Speed Racer shenanigans, all the jumping, the boosting around, and all the nonsensical gadgets and whatnot, I was like, alright, it's at least trying to be traditional to a Speed Racer movie, for the most part. Or not a movie, just Speed Racer in general. But, I mean, this movie is really hard to take apart, just because there's so much that happens, and I don't think I know how to accurately depict this. Somebody take this away from me so I can stop talking.
Why did he drink milk at the end? Why was that their big drink?
He's a psychopath!
They don't have milk in that universe, so clearly it's like liquid gold to them. Or
cows went
whatever.
extinct.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually, it's literally just a reference to the anime back in the day where he's literally a psychopath, and there's the milk psychopath trope in movies.
That's true! That's why they did it.
Oh, that was the other thing. I guess I don't know how this reminded me. How long did it take you guys to realize people weren't dying a fiery explosive death when they crashed their cars?
Immediately.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, instantly.
We never thought that was happening.
I did not catch the part where their like car projected like some kind of foam bubble system around them and they bounced away safely. I legit like thought they were just killing people in this movie just because they could.
I think they do also kill people though, because you don't always see the fucking bubble, and there are many instances where there's a horrific crash and it does not look like a bubble would save them.
Yeah, I was. It took me a decent. I think I was about a third way into the movie where I was like, it was like the part where they were going over like this sideways ramp thing, and there was a fiery explosion. I saw like this thing fly out. It didn't look like a car part. I was like, that looks like a foam like air bubble thing. What if that has to do with anything? So I started paying attention, and in fact, it was like some kind of safety mechanism saving people. So I was like, all right, cool. I guess they're not just murdering people. That's good. That's good. Not
they show
some F-Zero bullshit.
Pretty early in the movie, but also I do believe that Speed has like a 5-figure body count by the end of this film.
Oh, most definitely.
5-figure?
Yes.
Like at least 10,000 people?
Yes.
Yeah.
You fucking dumbass. I didn't like this movie.
What?
This movie looks like fucking barf, dude. It, like, literally, it was giving me headaches the entire time. The action in this movie is incomprehensible. The plot is ridiculous. It is ugly as sin. All of the characters are just goofy retards. Who the fuck is Sparky and why is he here?
Sparky's my favorite. He makes zero sense. At no point do they ever explain why he's a part of like this entire group. He just shows up.
He's just and he's Australian.
He has to be one of the family members. Hold on a second.
He's not a family member. I think he's just like a family friend or something.
He's like a mechanic or something.
Yeah. Oh, he's not even like in the first like 2 pages of the cast and crew list. That's sad.
Anyway, fucking the only entertainment value in this movie is how absurd it is, and how like it just refuses to like have you actually try to analyze it.
Yeah.
Literally, the funniest part for me of this movie was when I remember saying early on in the film, wouldn't it be funny if the brother got facial reconstructive surgery and he was Racer X, and then at the end of the film they revealed that actually happened.
Yeah.
That shit was hilarious. But this movie fucking sucks as a movie, but as like a vibe, it's pretty cool, I guess.
I will say, Tanner, I don't disagree with anything you just said.
Yeah, I will also second that statement.
But the experience of this movie is nuts, okay? Like, this is a film...
The fact that it was hurting my eyes and my frontal lobe, unfortunately, hampers my experience,
You need to expand your horizons, Tanner.
There's nothing to be done. That many moving shapes and flashing colors, it just gave me a headache. I could watch this a million times and that would not be solved.
This movie truly is like it doesn't work as a film, but as an experience, it is something that just cannot be reproduced, okay?
This is like the film equivalent of a Rorschach test.
You truly get whatever you put into it, okay? Like, I gotta say, I feel like I was much higher on it overall. I do not believe that this is a good movie.
Yeah.
But it's fucking crazy, and I loved every second of it. You cannot go 2 minutes in this film without something absolutely batshit insane happening.
I thought it was funny and fucking ridiculous. And it definitely is not a good movie, but I was definitely very entertaining throughout it. Like, it's almost 2 hours long. It did not feel that long to me. There was just always some fucking ridiculous shit happening. So I really was never bored throughout it. Honestly, the pacing was pretty solid for me. Mm-hmm. So I think it was entertaining throughout the entirety of it, even if it wasn't a good movie, just because of how fucking ridiculous it is. Which is my biggest takeaway, honestly.
Yeah, even if there's some really dumb shit happening on screen right now, like fucking his little brother Spricket or whatever the fuck his name is, and Chim Chim
Sprittle.
Just going off and doing their dumb bullshit. Like, I hate them. I despise them. But at the same time, they do add like an extra little bit of levity to the film.
That's just the Speed Racer trope, though, man. They're always in his trunk for some dumbass reason.
They love hanging out there. They have a little cot that they built.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that.
They fucking there.
Yeah.
Jackson, as our avid resident racer, did this spark anything inside of you, this movie?
No.
That's unfortunate.
Jackson was just going off on this movie about how, nothing in it makes sense from a car standpoint, you know?
They got kind of Star Wars-y there for a second with all the car shit, I will say.
What the fuck? Huh?
Where they just start saying random gobbledygook that's supposed to make sense in their eyes, but we're just sitting here like, I don't know what that means, but I guess it makes the car go fast or something. I don't know.
In terms of just, car technology stuff, I think the thing that sits the least well with me, I probably could have phrased that better, was just the final scene where he is, trying to get his car started in the Grand Prix. Well, how he gets his car started, whatever, who cares? Maybe there's some logic behind that. It doesn't ring any bells for me. But then he just fucking blasts off like a fucking rocket and just passes everybody. So, my question is, how the fuck did this car do that in the first place? 2, why didn't he do that from the fucking start? 3, why didn't he continue to keep doing it until the end of the race? 4, how the fuck is this random, bespoke car they made in their garage have the capabilities of even doing this when all these, massive mega corporations that are dumping, millions of dollars into this, presumably, just getting smoked by it?
Jackson,
it makes no sense, and it's fucking stupid, and I know the point is to not think about it. But I'm thinking about it.
That is exactly the answer I was about to give you. Don't fucking worry about it, okay?
I wasn't gonna say exactly that. I was gonna be like, Jackson, it's the Mach 6, and his dad put a little something special inside the car.
He believed in the heart of the car.
Yeah, I gotta go with Nico's statement on this one.
Start ranking it, you ninnies.
Woohoo. Tanner, I think you should go first.
Tanner, you didn't even mention how fucking hot the main girl is.
The main girl was hot?
She had her fucking nipples out.
She did. You also didn't even mention how hot Speed is.
Yeah, they're an attractive couple. I'll give them that. Anyway, I'm also giving this movie a C.
I also gave it a C.
Huh.
I'm going a bit higher on it. I'm going to give it a B.
Whoa! Me and Nico actually agreed on something for once when everybody else is not agreeing. I also gave this movie a B. I thought it was entertainment for entertainment's sake, and I will leave it at that.
Cow.
And
I stopped trying to interpret it.
And that puts it at a solid B-.
Let's go.
Whoa.
Making it the third best movie we watched this week, because we're going into our fourth movie this week, which was not something that was suggested. This is just a movie that Nico and I and one of the other people that's appeared on the podcast before decided to watch, and then Tanner watched it on his own time. That is The Shining, 1980s The Shining. This is a classic horror film. I think it'd be funny. Dylan, I know you haven't seen this movie and probably don't know anything about it, but describe the plot for us.
Yeah, give me 1 second to collect my thoughts here.
No. Don't fucking look up a Wikipedia page for it or anything.
Okay, so The Shining
is
a
lot of references to it. There's so many pop culture references to this movie you've seen. Try and make it up based on that.
Tanner, your first assumption was thinking I know pop culture references. Anyway, so this is a big old murder movie with a murder guy, and we got our 3 characters in the movie that are trying to not get murdered, and slowly, one by one of each of them dies until there's the last person who doesn't die, and the last person escapes, and we never see the murderer again, and he continues to do murderer things, and that's the end of the movie.
Do you feel like there are any famous quotes about this film that are ringing around in there that happen?
I don't know anything about The Shining. I don't even know who the murderer is.
Damn.
I'm gonna go read the description now.
Anyways,
It's pretty accurate.
I guess I'll also just go and give a brief description of this movie. I think Dylan did a pretty solid job.
Dylan's was adequate, but yeah, I guess that you can go ahead, Jackson.
Yeah, might as well if I'm here, right? So basically, The Shining is about this couple and their child. They're a married couple, and the father is taking on a job as the keeper of this massive hotel over the winter while there's nobody there, so they're operating the generators and stuff and keeping the general vibe of the place pretty good. There's also some ghost spookiness happening. The child is a shining or whatever. They don't really dive super deep into it. There's also a cook or something that works there that also has the shining or something, and they're able to talk to each other or something. They don't really delve too deep into the powers of how this works. But there's ghosts and shit in this place, and there was a legend of a previous family that stayed there where the husband went fucking crazy, stir crazy of just being alone for so long, and he ended up killing his entire family with an axe. So, things happen. The husband goes crazy and he attempts to kill his entire family with an axe. You know, as he just progressively gets kookier and kookier. You know, he's talking to people that don't exist. He's wandering around. The fucking kids cycling around through the hotel. It gets strangled by some ghost or some shit. Wife's going crazy because his husband's going crazy. And eventually the husband, he goes crazy. He tries killing him with an axe. You know, it writes itself. And the wife and the kid are attempting to evade him. Kid ends up, like, leading him to this maze that's outside the property. He fucking dodges him. I guess the husband also kills the fucking cook while he's in there. That's the only guy that dies in this movie, too, which is fucked up. I love that guy. I love the cook guy. He just gets fucking... he drives up there to save the wife and kids, gets fucking axed, and that's, like, his entire part, which is so sad. And then the wife and the kid take the snowmobile machine, I don't know what the fuck it is, that he took up there to take them, you know, and then they escape off that, and then the husband fucking dies. He, like, freezes to death outside. And that's The Shining, and then, like, it loops back and shows that he was actually... the guy, you know, the husband was the guy, I guess, that went crazy like 80 years ago. Now he was like the person in the folklore or something. I think it's the implication. There's a bunch of...
I thought the implication was his soul is like trapped in the hotel now.
That was also what I took away from it. That's the big thing about The Shining, though. A lot of it is, like, you know, not super explained, and it leads really well to theories and stuff like that, to, like, you know, really dissect this film. Now, I'm gonna make a wild comparison here, and I want you guys to just bear with me for a second, okay? I liken The Shining a lot to Fritz the Cat, okay?
Actually,
hold on a second.
I was about to say shut the fuck up, but then I realized I have no idea where you're going with this, so continue.
I liken it a lot to Fritz the Cat because I feel like this is the kind of movie that's a lot more entertaining to, like, discuss and, like, dissect and stuff like that, more than it really is to watch.
Sure.
Fantastic. That's all I was looking for. Now, real quick here, guys, I just want to ask a little question to you. Who amongst us do you feel like would be the most likely to have The Shining?
Dylan.
Yeah, I think it's Dylan as well.
Yeah, Dylan.
Let's go.
Now, I guess let me... I'll start off with something good and then I'll bring up something bad. Obviously, I feel like the entire point of watching this movie is Jack Nicholson's performance.
Oh, yeah. His performance is fucking crazy good.
Mm-hmm. He's just really fun to watch as he's going crazy. I feel like before he's like crazy, his performance is like kind of bad, because it feels like he's already crazy through most of it, and I feel like that final turn comes on a bit too quickly, in my opinion.
I do agree a little bit. I don't think his performance prior to that was bad at all, but I definitely do think we would have benefited a lot from actually seeing him interact with his family a lot more before he goes crazy, because he really basically never talks to his son throughout this entire film.
And that's why he went crazy, because he was isolated for so long. He kept isolating himself when he was writing. It's writing itself.
These also, like... This is not a believable married couple at all. They don't seem to like each other, like, whatsoever.
I think that is a believable married couple. Ayo!
Especially back in the 80s.
Yeah. Back before Richard Nixon was in office and legalized fucking no-fault divorce or whatever. Even though he also beat his son, but, you know.
Right. Here's my biggest issue with the movie. My biggest issue is actually The Shining, because, and like, I've tried thinking this through, maybe I need a new perspective on it, so tell me if you think I'm wrong about this. If you took out The Shining entirely, would the plot be different at all?
Yeah, I think so.
My problem with The Shining is I don't know how it relates to anything but the kid. I might just be like totally missing a lot of the subtleties of it. But honestly, it looks like the husband's just going fucking crazy, and the kid does his own shit. The kid being like strangled and freaking out the mom is kind of what like triggers the husband like going like full psycho, I think, potentially. But I feel like there's a better way they could have done that, and I don't really know if The Shining really adds to much other than them just getting the fucking guy to come up and try to save them, and then they can steal his car after he gets axed down. It felt kind of forced in and not like super fleshed out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He gets axed immediately, so that doesn't really matter. And like, you could easily just write around not having him bring a snowcat up, or you could even just say like he wasn't summoned by the kid, you know, needing help. He just was like, I figure they might need help, you know. So like Nico, in your estimation, what would be different if like the psychic powers weren't in this?
Well, so like a big part of The Shining seems to be like they're able to like sort of like interact with like this other world or whatever. Like the little kid, he's able to talk to this other spirit, it seems like. And so, by my estimation, what I think, guys, is that Jack Nicholson also has The Shining. And because of that, he's able to talk with all these fucking other ghosts that are present within the hotel. And that's what's making him go fucking crazy. Because like, hey dude, you should murder your family now. I think that would be pretty freaking cash money if you did that, bro. You should go ahead and do it. And I think that's a big part of why he's going fucking crazy, you know? It's a mixture of like the isolation. It's a mixture of him being like constantly tempted by these evil spirits and shit like that. It's making him go, hey, murdering my family might not be so bad. I think it could be pretty sweet.
That's a perfectly valid interpretation. It's just the way I see it is I kind of see the kid having psychic powers as entirely separate from the ghost shenanigans. Like I just see it that this is like a haunted hotel and it's gonna do evil shit, and that's kind of separate from some people have telepathy.
Yeah, I don't know if it like works super well just because they don't really explain it that much. I definitely see where Nico's coming from, especially because you could look at it in the sense of like, you know, the kid gets possessed a little bit at the end there with like the red rum thing where you're saying murder backwards. Clearly something fucked up's going on there, and you could probably liken that to what's going on with the father and draw a parallel there. Fair enough, but I don't know. I feel like they just don't explain The Shining enough to like want to be able to grasp to that.
I think an easy fix to my problem here is just do something where the kid and his dad communicate with each other telepathically. That way you can make it clear that the dad also has The Shining, and that's why some of his craziness is going on. And also, I feel like that'd actually be kind of interesting where the dad is now crazy, trying to kill the kid, and he can like telepathically taunt the kid as he's trying to find him.
That would be pretty interesting. But Guasson, dude, they don't want to make things that straightforward in this film.
You hear that, Stanley Kubrick, you fucking hack? I just improved your movie.
We seem to do that a lot here at Guapish at the movies.
Oh yeah, we would be excellent film writers. I feel like if we were to put in charge of directing a movie, it would be absolutely perfect and nothing would go wrong whatsoever. That's one of the interesting parts of looking at this movie, is just seeing like all the fucking fan theories and stuff like that, trying to explain what's going on in The Shining. But also like one of the kind of like really kind of parts, you know, where like Stanley Kubrick is looked at as like this absolute fucking genius. Okay, it's like there are a lot of like weird things going on in The Shining where like parts of the background like in like the next shot are like entirely separate, but you don't really notice it because you're not paying attention to what's going on back there. Things are constantly like moving and you don't see it between shots and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, a lot of this does feel very intentional to give the movie a really like weird sort of like off vibe, and a lot of that can be used to kind of like explain some of these weird supernatural things are happening. But at the same time, like, you know, because people view Stanley Kubrick as an absolute genius, they're like, okay, well, this explains everything and all of the issues that I have with the movie. Like, do you see how there's a Tony the Tiger back here behind this woman during this one shot? That obviously explains how the child knew that this one thing was happening, because the Tony the Tiger is the evil spirit that the kid is talking to this whole time. Ergo, it's able to see what's going on and relay that information to the child. It's a bunch of stupid ass shit like that where it's like, okay, I think you might be looking a little too far into this movie.
Right, yeah. I don't even think this movie is that complicated. It's a haunted hotel and it drove a guy crazy because it has evil spirits in it.
Yes. But are there actually evil spirits, Tanner?
Yes, dude. That's why he went crazy. That's why there was a blood elevator. That's why the wife saw those weirdos in the fucking room fucking or something doing their weirdo shit. But they weren't there because they were ghosts. Consider.
I kind of wish they didn't show that flash forward stuff at the very beginning of the movie. I think I have come down on, it would have been cooler to see that in the moment.
Speaking of seeing things in the moment, Tanner, do you have anything else to say about this film, or would you like to kick off our rankings for it?
I got something to say about this movie. Johnny's here and he brought the red rum. Anyway, continuing on with the rankings.
Fantastic. By the way, Dylan, I think you could... I believe in your ability to watch this movie.
No, I
don't think it's going to freak you out that much.
No, I don't know how it would, but...
Yeah, okay. I'm going to give it an... Oh, do I want to change that?
I'm giving it an A.
I'm giving it an A.
Oh,
I'm gonna give it a B+.
Oh.
Whoa.
What a fucking loser.
I liked the
shit.
movie. I do think one thing we didn't really talk about very much was how suspenseful this film is. I feel like it does a pretty good job of that. Also, like, all the performances are fantastic. Obviously, as we know, boys, as you may have heard, this movie had, like, a lot of retakes and shit like that drove the fucking actors fucking insane, alright? Like, that scene where she's, like, trying to fend him off on the stairs, that apparently took, like, 150 takes because Stanley Kubrick just wanted to drive these people insane and actually get, like, more realistic portrayals of their craziness of constantly redoing the same thing over and over again. That kind of stuff's pretty cool. I like hearing about that, but also, like, I feel like this movie is pretty good.
Just from a movie-making perspective, this is really fucking impressive, too. I thought it was really well shot all around. I think they did a lot of really cool scenes and stuff. I like the surreal imagery they were doing a lot of the time. It was just a really entertaining movie throughout the entirety of it, even if the plot is pretty incomprehensible, but, that's kind of the intention behind it. I think it's fun to think about, too. I like the idea of having a movie that's pretty up to interpretation, but it's still entertaining at a surface level. Big
that's
fan of that type of shit.
Yeah, it's definitely one thing that I enjoy a lot personally. I've said it a few times previously, but I really, really like it when, like, a film or some other piece of media is like, hey, here's, like, a good, solid story for you that you can enjoy. It's just, like, it doesn't take a lot to really understand it all. You can just sit down, look at it at face value, and enjoy it. But there's this entire separate layer to it, where if you really start digging in to all this other shit, all this symbolism and stuff like that, there's this entirely separate interpretation you can take away from this movie. I think that kind of stuff is really cool. If you are solely focusing on that top layer, I think that's shit. I think you're a hack fraud. But if you combine the two of those, then that's fantastic. I'm a big fan of that.
Anyways, B+, he says, and that puts it at an A- overall. Which I would definitely agree. This is, like, by far the best movie we watched this week. It's not even a comparison.
Yeah.
And guys, we've got some outstanding movies we're going to be watching next week. Of course, one of them being a movie that nobody's going to pick. We're going to be watching Godzilla -1, which is airing in theaters right fucking now. Everybody but Nico's going to watch it because he's, again, a hack fraud.
I mean, I might watch it some other day. I'm just not watching it tomorrow with you, or tonight with you guys.
Yeah, whatever. Keep talking. We're watching that, and then let's do some picks. Dylan, what are you picking this week?
I'm gonna pick Nico's favorite Christmas movie, The Polar Express.
Holy shit, that's not my favorite, but it's a decent one.
Oh, well,
The Polar Express.
The Polar Express.
Express.
Anyways, I'm picking Avengers Endgame.
Ooh, that's a really long movie, guy.
Yeah, it's like
shit.
3 hours long, I think.
It sure is. It's like 3 hours, 12 minutes.
I see, why not just get it out of the way, I've had it on my list for a while. Let's just be done with it.
Is it not concerning to you that you have seen literally none of the other Avengers movies?
What's that got to do with anything?
Never mind. Anyway,
we've had this
the
discussion in
Patreon.
private. I'm sure that the audience is thinking, what's wrong with these guys? Why are they, like, picking this movie when they haven't, like, checked all the other ones yet? Jackson wanted to, I guess.
That's
take
fine.
it up with him.
If he's picking the movie, that's fine, I guess. It's, I didn't know.
Originally, this movie went onto my list because I was asking people in a CSGO game, what are your guys' favorite movies? And one of the people said Endgame. And I was like, it'd be funny if I picked Endgame out of context.
That's a weird choice.
So that's what I'm doing. Because that random guy's favorite movie of all time is Avengers Endgame, that's why I'm picking it.
In addition to this context, I didn't know Tanner hadn't seen Rio 1, so I apologize for that, Tanner.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, I know. Just roll the Patreon.
Roll
the Patreon.
Oh, I'd love to roll the Patreon. What are we getting?
It's going to be...
It is Perfect Blue, the 1998 film. Thank you, Laviskin, for requesting that amazing movie.
Wow.
I feel like... Is that a shark movie?
No.
Shark?
It is a shark movie.
It is a psychological horror film.
Yeah, lovely. You gotta love it.
I'm a big fan of Perfect Blue. I thought it was very entertaining. Anyways, that's gonna do it.
And if you would like to request a movie just like our Patreon member Laviskin did, you can hop right over to patreon.com/Guapish, where you'll get a ton of amazing benefits that Tanner's going to tell you about right now.
That's right. For only $1 a month, you get access to our pre-Guap show, as well as early access to every episode. Plus, you get to get into our Discord with us, where you can talk to us, suggest your own topics, request movies just like Laviskin just did, and also get 500 slime coin. And finally, you get your name read out at the end of every single episode, just like I'm about to do. Very special thank you to Raheem Wajwani, Kyler Nikolai, briefly interrupting the name reading to say I'm a Hebophile, Top Ramen Man, Joshua Bean, Cuties is my favorite movie because the girls are so cute and funny, Tutbot, Lucas Ledette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards.
And as always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Bye-bye!
Bye!
Bye!